Welcome to the Decide to Heal podcast. I am your host, Alejandra Crisafulli. And today's episode, I am actually recording the very first part of January 2025. So it's a brand new year. There's this air of newness, this essence of hope within people. And it's a beautiful thing. And there's also this edge of like, what is this year going to really bring? I want to tap into that, what's this year really going to bring conversation? Because in this time period, many people are focused in on resolutions and goals for the year and the word of the year. And those are all awesome things. However, what makes January 1st different than December 31st, other than the clock saying it's a new year, the calendar saying it's a new year? Because listen, what's changed in you from December 31st at 11:59 p.m. to January 1st, 12 a.m.? What has changed within you that is now somehow miraculously going to create a different year or fulfill a resolution that you weren't able to fulfill in the last year? There is something within you that blocks from being able to fulfill the things that you want to fulfill any time of the year, not just a new year. And that's what I want to talk about. There's so many other podcasts and coaches and leaders and speakers that can walk you through how to set some amazing goals and how to focus on all the positivity of it. And that's awesome. And I suggest, yes, go do those things. However, I am here and asking the question of, how do I help you get out of your own way and into the truth? That is my role. That is my job as a master life coach, not just with my clients, but with you tuning into this podcast. And the way to help you is to really hone in on the deep, hard stuff. Because listen, the reason why you're blocked, the reason why those goals or resolutions or the word of the year hasn't happened fully each year to year to year is because healing needs to occur. And that healing can only happen when there is a surrendering of your ego and a reconnection to God in a way that has not happened before. So that's what we're going to be focusing in on today. We can call this the 180 point of view of New Year's resolutions, goals, and the word for the year. So I want to start off with a distinction here. I'm all about distinctions. Distinctions are very important because they create a foundation in which you can build upon. The first distinction I want to focus in on is the word goals and intentions. Do you hear a difference between those two words, goals and intentions? Goals tends to have, from what I have found in asking clients about this, more of a heaviness, a contractiveness, a burdenness to it. Mainly because think about all of the goals that you have set throughout your life. Have you accomplished all of them? No. Which ones do you tend to focus on the most? The ones that you've accomplished or the ones that you didn't accomplish and fulfill? Yep, it's the ones you didn't accomplish and fulfill. It's like the ones we do accomplish get this momentary celebration of like, yay, woohoo, but I didn't do this, this, and this, and this. And it's like all the limelight goes towards all the hard stuff. So if you approach your year and setting more goals, you're bringing in all that baggage of what you have brought in the past into your goal setting. It's like, this heaviness of, hey, I haven't accomplished all my goals before, but I'm still going to set new ones, or I'm going to repeat some old ones. Why? It's insanity. It's that the 360 cycle in hopes that you're going to miraculously have something different in this life. But if you aren't different, then how are you going to have goals that are differently fulfilled? It's just, it doesn't make sense. So tune into the word intentions. There's a difference there. Like for me, intentions feels a lot more expansive. There's more room. There's more openness. There's more of an excitement with intentions. It doesn't have all the baggage that goals does for me. So when you're approaching your resolutions and your goal setting, come from a place of setting the ones that have the least amount of baggage. If that's goals for you, then great. Go with that word and set goals. But if you're sensing that, like, you know what? She's right. Goals feels very heavy and burdensome. I'm going to set intentions for this year because there's a power that is different through intention versus goals. And a really great way that you can figure this out for yourself is just close your eyes and repeat the word to yourself at least 3 times, but give yourself some space in between to really tune into it. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's just do that right now. Unless you're driving, don't do this. Okay? But if you're not driving, go ahead and close your eyes. If you aren't driving, then just go ahead and like tune into the word. So go ahead and close your eyes if you are able to. And notice how the word lands for you. Goals. 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 So, what came up? What were the feelings? What were the thoughts? What was the experience? That's the important part here. What was the experience of that? Now let's do intentions. Intentions. Tune into the word. How does it feel? Intentions. Intentions. So, what's the experience of that word for you? Whichever one feels like there's less burden, there's less heaviness, that's the one you want to be focusing in on in this new year or any point throughout the year that you need to be setting some kind of a focused approach to reach an end result. Okay? Now, what this is going to be revealing to you is the relationship that you have with goals. And it's important to know that relationship you have with them, because if the relationship is in a negative place, why would you want to continue feeding and influencing a negative relationship? You don't. You want to develop and deepen a healthy relationship. That's what this is revealing to you, not just which word is the best for you, but the relationship so that you can have the best success in fulfilling them for this year. Okay, so I was just in a coaching call with 2 of my coaches that I'm training, and we were talking about this event that one of them is going to be doing. And of course, new year, the whole event was about, setting resolutions and goals and all the jazz, everything we're talking about here. And she's like, I don't really know what kind of questions to ask them. Like, I want to approach it from a 180 way. So we were having this conversation around, typically everybody has already picked like what it is that they want to create in this year by this point. Like we're thinking about it in the holiday season. And then we're looking at the approaching of the new year with already what we have in mind that we want to create. So you most likely are in the same place. You've already set whatever that focus, that thing or things that you want to create in your life. So what we were discussing is, because we already have these things in mind, what it is that you want to create or accomplish isn't necessarily going to be the important part to focus in on. That's not what's going to be important for her to focus on with her event that she's doing for these people. And it's not what's going to be important for you and what you're focusing in on in this next year. So if that's not what's important, then what is? Because the what is not important. The how, okay, there's some importance to that. Like you have to know what are the steps you're going to be taking? What is your approach going to be? But the approach just can't include the physical actions, the external actions. There has to be an internal action that's also happening. Because most of the time, the goals, the intentions that we're setting is to accomplish something that we aren't happy with. We want more of. It's like, okay, I want to lose more weight. Well, I'm not happy with the weight that I'm at. So of course I'm going to set a goal to lose more weight. I want to save more money. Well, most likely that's because I'm not happy with the money that I'm currently making. So you see how every goal or intention or whatever word you're setting for this year or focusing in on has to do with something that you aren't satisfied in. So you're trying to solve that dissatisfaction that you're experiencing with whatever that goal or goals are. And you have to be able to go internal in order for that goal to be fulfilled and satisfied, so to speak. You can't just approach the how to fulfill that goal with external strategies or steps or some kind of solutions that are for an external thing, because the dissatisfaction you might think is about something external, but it's something that's going to be internal for sure. Like wanting to lose weight, that dissatisfaction that's within that, there is something internal connected to it, like a belief or a view that you aren't good enough unless you look a certain way, or that you're not lovable unless you have this type of image, or that you only matter and people will only see you and hear you if this image is what is portrayed and what people see. That's an internal thing, not an external thing. So again, you have to be able to fulfill that goal or intention through actually healing whatever is causing the dissatisfaction in the first place and why you're setting that goal. So let's go there. Let me help you with that and how to get to that point. Because again, coming back to, it's not what the goal is that's important or how to get to it. It's really more the deeper aspects to it. And here's what's so incredible is I want you to think about, okay, pick your most audacious goal that you have for this next year, or intention, if that's what you're going to be setting now. What is that for you? Whatever that is, just bring that to mind for a second here. Now look at, what is it that you think you need to do in order to fulfill that? So take a second here. What do you need to do in order to fulfill that intention or that goal? What do you think you need to do? I'm going to share an example here. One of the things that I have heard many people talk about is that they struggle with overwhelm, especially, high performing women. That is typically who I work with. It's also myself who end up being like an overdriver, overgiver, overanalyzer, people pleaser, perfectionist, controlling. Yes, I'm describing myself too. So you're not alone, by the way, if you're like, yep, ew. Okay, great. Yep, that's me. Okay. That's a lot of high achieving women. Okay. So one of the things we tend to struggle with is overwhelm. There's a lot going on. You have a business you're running. You have a household you're running. You have children. You have a spouse. You have perhaps organizations that you are volunteering at or head up somehow. There's all sorts of things. Your health, things you do at church, your ministry work, your service work. There's a lot. So overwhelm can be a key thing. So a goal might be to say no to more things in the new year. Okay, again, great goal. That might be your big thing, to say no to things in the new year. And that's awesome as a goal or intention, whichever one you're ending up setting. You might think that the thing that you need in order to fulfill that or attain that goal is to get organized. If I just get organized, then I can say no to the things that aren't a priority, and then I won't have overwhelm. You follow me there? I'll say that again. Let's say overwhelm is something you're struggling with. That's the dissatisfaction I was talking about. So you set an intention or a goal for this year to say no to more things. And you think that the thing that you need is to get more organized. And that is going to be something that helps you be less overwhelmed. Here is your 180 mic drop moment, okay? What you think you need is not what you need at all. What you think you need is not what you need, my friend. You do not need to get organized. Now, I know that might sound ridiculous, but we're in the 180 here. That's why I said this is a 180 approach to this new year and how you're doing things. And so, logically, that doesn't make sense that you don't need to get organized, but it's not what you actually need. Because think of this. How many times, how often have you been thinking about all I need to do is get organized and have actually maybe taken some steps or actions towards that happening and you fulfilling that, but then fall right back into overwhelm because you didn't get organized enough? How often have you told yourself this? How many years have you been trying to get organized or whatever your thing is and haven't been able to do it? That's an indication and a truth here that the thing you think you need isn't the thing you need, because most likely the thing you think you need is something you've been thinking you've needed for a long time and you haven't fulfilled it. It hasn't been done all the way to the very end because it's not what you actually need. The thing that you need goes so much deeper than what you're thinking. You're probably wondering okay, Alejandra, great. So what is that thing that I need? If it's not what I think it is, then what is it? Totally valid question. Before I answer that, I really want you to sit with and look at what are those things you think you need? Because that's going to give you the lead into what you actually need. This is one of the things I love about coaching and the 180 method is because we can dig into individually what it is for each person that you need, because it might be different for you than it is for me, or that it is for client A or client B or C. We're all human beings and we all have so many similarities, but at the end of the day, we all have certain sets of circumstances, and those circumstances connect to things that are internally going on. So I don't have a blanket answer for you of exactly what it is you need. I do have a generalization, let's say, which can sound similar to a blanket, but what I mean by generalization is that it's where we started. There is something that you need healing on that is not a physical thing that you think you're needing. It is an internal thing that you're needing. The internal thing is the thing that propels the dissatisfaction, and it's the thing your ego continues to tell you is wrong with you, is a point of being bad or you shouldn't have. It's the thing that you want to hide or keep a secret so that nobody else sees or knows about you. That's the thing that needs healing. And that's the thing that you need in order to fulfill not just your big goal, but every goal and intention that you have. So if you're like, I desperately want to know what that is for me, my specific need, because if it's not this, and I know that because I've been trying to do that thing for several years and it hasn't happened, then you know it's something internal. I would love to do a coaching session with you. Let's get on the podcast and let's uncover that thing for you. Now, I will leave you with this, okay? Because there are some key things that will help you set your intentions or your goals a lot more effectively. And in a way that starts to tap into more of that internal thing that you need versus the external. So these are tips in creating more of a fulfillment of your goals and intentions. So number one is for you to start small. Don't go to the big audacious thing, especially if you don't know what that true need is for you to fulfill your intention. Go small so that you can start with something little that will lead you to uncovering what that more specific internal thing is. Don't jump to the big thing. Like, really have it be something small and tangible. I had to use the example of saying no to more things. That's kind of a big thing for an overachiever or a people pleaser. It might just be saying no to one thing every quarter. Might be something like that, very small, but not this big grandiose say no more. Like one thing every quarter, and that's small. Think about what you need to subtract, not add. This is the second thing for fulfilling intentions that lead you deeper into that internal thing, is think about what you need to subtract, not add. So oftentimes we'll look at, okay, I have this goal that I want to fulfill, this intention that I'm putting forward. What do I need to do in order to make that, right? That was my question to you. It tends to be something you need to add. The example we used is like getting organized. That's something to add on. But what would you need to subtract? What's that thing you need to take away? What's that thing you need to stop doing? That's going to help you get a lot more deeper into the truth of what's needed for you. Take a balanced approach. That's the third thing. Again, we tend to do things like fully grandiose, like all the way, versus just having it be very balanced. And when I say balance, I don't mean equal. I mean this kind of synergistic, like flow between things, not this equal balance. I have to have everything in the same plane. It's like a little bit of a flow, like a seesaw almost. The fourth thing is to take into account your personality and the season that you're in life. If you're in a build out mode, like maybe you've started a new business and you're in a full build out mode, to have a goal of like spending more time with my family, it might be challenging because it's not the season you're currently in. So take into account the season and your personality. Don't do things that go against your personality. If you're like, I'm going to serve every single week, but your personality isn't service, that's me. Like, I love serving here in this realm with clients, coaching, guiding, leading. But when it comes to like, my daughter's so good at this, like she'll go serve at, children's ministries and homeless shelters, and like, she just does so much. And it's like, that's not my personality, but it's so hers. Like, she's such a giver and so nurturing, and just, that's who she is. So if I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do all those things that she does, that is not a balanced approach. It's not starting small, and it's not taking into account my personality. Okay. The last thing is that you do this in a community type setting, which means get people involved in your intentions. Let them know, like, we are not meant to do things alone. It takes a village kind of thing. There's more than one person adds so much more value than just you trying to fulfill this or do whatever it is. Yes, it takes you, especially that internal work, but sometimes it takes that external person like a coach, a mentor, a friend, a parent, a colleague, someone that is there to like pose a question or challenge you in a way that maybe you don't like, but is exactly what you need. And that takes community. Okay. The last thing, I think I said the last thing before. This is the last thing, okay, that I want to leave you with is this. For those of you who love to set words for the year, I'm all for that. I love that. I think having a word is a really great way to have a focused intention. And it can't just be the word. Like setting a goal can't just be the goal for all the reasons we've spoken about. If you're setting a word, what is more important for you to focus on isn't necessarily the word itself, but who you have to be in order for that word to be fulfilled in this year. So whatever your word is, who do you have to be for that word to be fulfilled? Example, I have a client who her word of the year is vulnerable. Talk about, a challenging word for the year, and her intentions are set around that word. It is beautiful and challenging because it's something she was recognizing she has not been doing in her life. And it was her dissatisfaction and the driver that she was that was leading her to set goals that led her to the point of complete exhaustion and breakdown in the body. So vulnerable is what she's recognizing she needs to be in order for healing to happen. So who does she have to be in order for vulnerable to happen? An example of who you have to be is open, honest, bold, relatable, sharing, like a sharer. Can't be closed down and like shut at home. Like she has to be bold in putting herself out there, sharing, being honest, being real, telling her story, saying things she's never said before, unhiding, which revealing might be a better way of saying that, the secrets that she has held on to. That is who she has to be in order for that vulnerable word to be fulfilled. So it's not really the word that's important. It's who you have to be for that word to be fulfilled. That's the important piece. And my friends, I love to lead with this and also end with this. None of this matters without the direct connection and relationship with God. When we be with him and honor him in his glory, then you can delight in just the riches that are there, and all this other stuff doesn't matter. So there you go. I hope you found value in this and take time to really sit with these questions that I offered you. So for your question of the week, we have two actually. One is, who do you have to be this year in order for your word to be fulfilled? And if you didn't pick a word, fine. How about with your intentions? Who do you have to be for your intentions to be fulfilled? It can go both ways. And then the other question we honed in on is, what is it that you think you need to do in order for your intentions to be fulfilled? Once you have that answer, question it, because it's not necessarily going to be the thing you need. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. I love you. I honor you. And I know that this year is going to be different because you are deciding to heal. See you next time.